man, it's such a nuanced conversation
It's
because
very nuanced.
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, Lawrence. There are people that live above their means. I mean, that's just part of America, right? There's, if you look at the statistics on credit card debt, everybody out here frauding, right? So people
Hey
are,
man, get that business credit. Get that
you
50,000,
know
that
what I'm
hundred
saying?
thousand.
You
Start
look,
the LLC, run the play.
yeah, no, it's not business credit. It's funding.
You missed it, Jimmy. It
I know.
went over your head.
No. I get the business credit thing, but what I'm saying is that's what they call it. They don't call it business credit. They said you got to get your
No,
business funding.
it's all bullshit.
It's
LLC
funding
Twitter.
now.
Yeah. They did elevate the language though. It's not business
Yeah,
credit. It's business
yeah, it's
funding.
funding.
It's not even. Yeah, it's not even
Oh,
business. It's funding for anything that they're trying to do.
Yeah,
that's what it
you
is.
gotta
Pay
get your
the bills. I don't know. Like
It's funny because broke is still broke no matter how you look at it.
Facts.
Over leverage is still over leverage no matter how you look at it.
these are
Facts.
the facts. Kamari in the private chat actually dropped the article I was speaking of. It's the brother D Watkins, who's an amazing writer by the way. I read
Mm-hmm.
a couple of his books. Phenomenal writer. But the article that really put him on the map is that one. It's called "Too Poor for Pop Culture." I just gave it to you for you to read later. But what he talks about is how the census and things take these data, but a lot of folks that are in our communities, they're not a part of it. They're struggling. They don't even have
Listen, this
internet.
is real talk. My mother wouldn't allow me to fill out the census. So when people talk about these stats, I think about the same thing. Black people, as far as I know, have always had this anti-government type relationship. And you see it in everything, right? You see it in
I mean,
everything.
it's with reason.
No. I get it. I get it. Totally get it. Because there's always some screw up. There's always some, this person just got locked up today. Like, I just learned recently that ambulance systems basically started, or EMS, emergency medical systems, started in Pittsburgh in the Hill District. Why did it start? It started because the police would come anytime there was an emergency. And when they would take black people, they would treat them very poorly, transporting them to the hospital. So again, I get it. So paramedics basically came about because of the mistreatment of black people. So that's documented evidence right there.
That's our history, and that's what we have to deal with. And then we wonder why sometimes our response is to just trick out on life because we have very deeply rooted trauma. I'm sorry, like some of the stuff you can't even see. It's just
No, it
deep.
is. But that's why another
So
part
instead of money for reparations, maybe we should just get all lifetime therapy.
No,
no,
give me
but,
I
no,
lifetime
but,
I
no,
therapy
haven't
with a
seen
good
that.
I know,
therapist.
I know, I don't know whether you're joking or not with that, Kamari, but I
Yeah.
do believe that mental health has to be a part of that answer, including with the more income and the assets. Because again, sometimes I'm outside talking to folks, and they straight will tell me, like especially the young boys, when I speak to
No,
youth
know
studies
what?
center,
Hold on, Jimmy. Know what,
they
GC?
like, I'm not
Expound on
making it
that.
to 30. They're like, you trying to tell me to save money? I don't even plan on being alive in the next
They're not.
5
They
years.
didn't think they were going to make it till 21.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah, we were told that from the high school teachers, the principals, the vice principals. Like,
All
yeah, you
right,
ain't
so
gonna make it.
hold on, y'all. I do want to talk about this, right?
Oh no!
So
We need mental health too, GC.
yeah, so
we need
GC,
both.
I
We need
totally
aggressive
disagree.
therapy and health.
I don't know if you're joking or if you're serious. Yes, we do need the money, but guess what? The better our brains and our emotions and our psychology work, the more money we'll be able to make. A lot
Well,
of
not only
people,
that, if you give us the money and we don't have the right mind frame, it don't matter that you give us the money.
Exactly.
I couldn't get there, huh? You just had to jump me. Go ahead, Jimmy. Go.
No, I'm just saying, like, this is a realization I've had recently, like, not recently, I said over the last several years, because, and I've talked to you about this, how I used to always think that everything's economics, but
It's not. It's the
more
softer
the
things
more
a lot
life
of times.
experience I have and the more people I'm able to sit down and talk to and really see what their issues are, because I've talked to people that have literally come across $1 million in lawsuits and are broke. But
Can we take a minute? Can we take a minute? I said minute. Can we take a
yes,
minute
sir.
and talk about what wealth really is? Because
It's
most people
holistic.
think wealth is only money, and it is not.
No, it's not.
Wealth is money. It's health, right? Your environments, black environments. Jimmy just talked about it. They're all jacked up, right? So we're not even talking about that. So we're just talking about if your mind is not right, what can you do effectively at the top level? I bet if everybody got therapy, every black person got therapy, I bet on average we would see a 10 to 20% income rate probably within a 10-year span.
I think
That's a
savings rate
guess.
would get
That's a
higher.
guess.
I think
And yes,
I,
yes,
I believe that. I really believe that, right? So I believe that a lot of the issues that we talk about are really mental health issues and not financial issues, right?
I agree with that.
Agreed. It's addiction.
Hold
It's
on. I give you
addiction.
this, Jimmy. You deserve some warmth for
I'm
that.
the only one disagreeing with that.
All
I
right,
well,
Lawrence, why? Tell us why. Come on.
I'll say this, 'cause I think I've seen it online, especially in this day and age for the millennials and Gen Z. It's all about empathy, therapy, and financial trauma that's passed over through your DNA for some reason. I'm like, I don't think that's even science. I
it's
think at
called
the end of the
epigenetics.
day,
It is
I think
science.
a lot of people need to start small. And to your point, a lot of people are hungry. A lot of people are stressed out because of
But
the
wait a
house,
minute.
the spaces they don't live in.
What if
I think money
emotionally?
comes. I think
Hold on, Lawrence.
money. Go ahead.
Hold on, Lawrence. What if emotionally you can't even rationalize what's small?
I know that, and that's very much the way that we're trying to solve this problem. Is if I were to solve this grand problem with Black people, I would actually start small and making sure that one, the people that do have the means get financially squared away, financially fluent. We cannot afford the people that are making the most in our community to be also the ones, I guess, spending the most and getting more and more debt because they have issues. Definitely need to sort that one out. The second point of that would be from those people, now that they are healthy, well, and financially savvy enough, we could now source money from them to actually start to help out people in the lower rung being the people that are struggling with, the type of therapy that we need and the holistic ideal to get people back to work. I think
I
when
just
you get people back to work, you start solving and unraveling this problem that we have in the Black community globally, where we need Black men and Black women back actively producing in order to go back to their house. From their house, that therapy and mental health piece always kind of goes into play. The more and more we have communication, healthy dialogue creates better communities. Because there's years the Black community, even the world, have done years without therapy for some reason, and they actually survived. I don't know. I
So
think
I,
therapy in
well,
that sense
I
has
want
survival
had.
to.
survival is
Oh,
different than
Wait a minute.
thriving
One at a
for
time.
one.
One at a time. Hold on, Jimmy.
Survival is different
Hold
than
on, Jimmy.
thriving.
We're gonna go to Liz first. She was talking first. Go ahead,
I say
Liz.
go with the
I'm
money.
sorry. When you get to a global aspect of things, we got to be really careful about this one because colonization has done a number on the globe, particularly in spaces that are not fully dominated by American culture. But I also want to be clear that most of those communities globally that we're talking about for Black and Brown people have always consistently worked, and some of the most really terrible jobs, including mining. And there's a lot of issues still happening in the Congo right now. I just want to make sure we're clear. So it's not that people aren't working, and mental health is an issue globally speaking because of all of the trauma around how you rear your children. So I just want to leave that there. And then when we talk about the millennials and the zennials and all of them, the Gen Zers, and their focus on how generational trauma around money and what is passed on genetically. And when I mentioned that about epigenetics, that is exactly what epigenetics talks about: the passing on of gene changes based on environment and trauma that goes on to the later generations. The reason why we have higher issues of blood pressure, cholesterol, all of those very significant health issues for Black people has to do with just slavery and history and diet and trauma passed on for survival because our bodies adapted to traumatic spaces to survive. So that is not just on a physical level, but a mental and emotional level as well. So we have to be really careful about how we say just getting back to work and making money is going to be the solution. Because unfortunately, as I said before, we have alabaster counterparts who've always had money, and they're mentally screwed based on their epigenetics of being descendants of colonizers and oppressors and mass murderers.